That's right. It is time for Flyers game day. It's a late night, another Flyers after dark. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, and we're getting you ready for Flyers Canucks tonight. Let's go first to Brian Smith and say, how's British Columbia? Did you get through customs okay?
Yeah, actually, remarkably well. It was one of those times where things were just blazing right on through. So it was a good little trip, and it's been a little rainy here, but warmer than you would expect. So not a lot of complaints.
Pacific Northwest for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys will head tomorrow to Calgary? Spend the night
Yes,
in
that's the
BC?
plan right now. That's the plan. Period. Yeah, gonna go to Calgary tomorrow, and spend the night here, and then you'll be a mid afternoon flight, and then same thing going into Edmonton, seeing as how it's the afternoon game in Calgary. So it's going to be a good decent situation overall.
Yeah. So you guys are flying the day after the Calgary game to Edmonton? Because that's the back-to-back.
No, we'll fly post game, but
Okay, yeah,
it's
'cause of the
it's
4 o'clock
it's
game.
2 o'clock local here, so
Yeah.
we'll get there a little early and be one of those easier back-to-backs, if you will, than one of those 7-to-7s, that sort of thing, and then
Yeah.
It'll be flight home on Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So, one of the things we talked about in post game the other night, Brian, we actually heard from John Tortorella in pregame about it too, about the word I used was slippage. And yesterday, after the day after the game, he said, this isn't a subject we've broached very often about being ready to play with the standard and all that stuff with resilience. But it's staring us right in the face with the last 2 games. Those 2 games, both against Seattle, and obviously culminating with that 6-2 loss the other night in Seattle. So Torts, I imagine, is looking for his guys tonight to be ready to play from the time the puck drops on this game and play with a lot more of that standard that he talks about and a lot more, for lack of a better term, kind of ass in the game.
Exactly.
A little more everything.
Yep, a little more everything. The biggest issue, I think, from his perspective, was that first Seattle game, Super Bowl Sunday. It was a weird situation. Second day game in a row, coming off the Edmonton and Nashville games, both of which were pretty high energy games. But they gave them 2 days off. They spent a day completely on structure and things like that, and then the second Seattle game happened. And I maintain that in both cases, I think Seattle had a lot to do with it. But I think for the most part, it's a lot harder to accept after the 2 days off than it was in the circumstances of the first game. So they practiced yesterday. It was a big time work day. It was as close to a bag skate as you're going to see in the NHL in February. They were doing a lot of battles in the corners, a lot of skating, and so it was kind of flush. It was kind of a flush the system day, and let's wake it up a little bit here. And so whether or not the Flyers are going to be a little tired from that skate tonight remains to be seen. But I think that was a secondary concern. It was more that we need to kind of snap out of whatever this is, and like you said, you can't let it slide back into any sort of issues like that. So that's what they're looking for tonight is a strong bounce back, and like I said, I think a lot of Seattle certainly had something to do with it. So hopefully a fresh face on the other side of the ice works as well.
Yeah, and it's Vancouver tonight. Seattle's a team in playoff position. Vancouver is a team that is not. They've been much talked about around league circles this year for all the wrong reasons. And right now they're a team, they're actually sitting in the 5th spot of the Pacific Division of the Western Conference, 55 games, 21-30-4, 46 points. They're a minus 39 in goal differential. They've lost 3 straight. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. They're not good at home. They're a little better on the road, but they're at home tonight where they're 10-15-1. And the Flyers a little better on the road than they are at home, 11-10-7. And Torts, you can tell this game means a lot because, Torts is going back to Carter Hart in this game. But it's my understanding they're going to run 11-7 tonight.
That is the plan. Yep, they're going to run it. They're going to get Justin Braun back in the lineup. A little bit of a fresh leg there. Kiefer Bellows is going to come out. Ole Lixell will stay out as well, and yeah, they're gonna do again a similar thing to what they did in that Winnipeg game, which was by necessity because they were already out here with not enough players. This is a full out choice. This is we're going to run with this because these are the best 18 guys we have, and so this is an interesting approach to it. And they're going to start with the same strategy sort of as that Winnipeg game, rolling the centers through some fixed wingers, but that is I think a lot more subject to change than it was in that Winnipeg game. They're going to they're going to keep certain winger pairs together at first. But be quick to adjust that if necessary. So that's it's an interesting approach tonight that we're going to see how this works out. Those numbers you threw out there for Vancouver, those are their full season numbers. The ones as of late aren't as good as those. Since roughly the turn of the calendar, they've struggled. And Talk is in here now. He's trying to right the ship, trying to turn things around. And they've had basically, they have had 3 straight losses coming into this, and they had a win in the block before that. But they're just trying to turn things around here and stabilize things. And for Talk, it's always special going up against the Flyers. So it's going to be interesting from that perspective as well.
And I know you look at it too, and they've got some talent there. I mean, you got Elias Pettersson, who, by all accounts, is having a real, he's got good numbers, and he's a really good player. He's, of course, taken in that 2017 draft. And he's got 66 points in 53 games, 25 goals, 41 assists. And, you've got Quinn Hughes on that blue line, who's a dynamic player. He's a point-a-game player with 46 assists in 51 games and 5 goals. Their second point guy on the team, he's not there anymore. He's not on the team. That's Bo Horvat. That was the big trade. Anthony Beauvillier comes in, and but replacing Horvat is no easy task. He was their captain. So we'll see if the next captain is going to be Pettersson. But what Talk's facing there is, in a way, similar to what, Torts is facing here, trying to set a new standard. And Talk, like Torts, is a guy that, needs you to control what you can control, and that's your effort and standard. And that's the way that you approach each game as a professional.
Yeah, exactly. And the other issue they've got here is just a few injury concerns, and it's affecting the goaltending. Thatcher Demko is out, and so they're just rolling with what they got. Colin Delia has really had to absorb the load here since then, and it's he's still looking to get into a rhythm there, I think. So they've allowed a lot of goals here. This is again, we're talking about switching up the opponent a little bit. Hopefully this is a little bit of a good situation for what ails the Flyers right now. The Canucks have given up well over 4 goals a game on the entire season, as well as in that most recent stretch. So hopefully this is a chance for some of the Flyers to kind of snap out of their funk a little bit. Travis Konechny, even though they were garbage time goals, and they didn't have any effect on the contest whatsoever in Seattle the other night, they were still goals, and that still hopefully will get him moving a little bit, and get him a little bit more relaxed. And he's obviously got the talent there to put the puck in the back of the net. So hopefully it'll get him going a little bit.
Yeah, no matter what, it takes away the bagel in 13 games.
Yeah.
It takes away that 0 for 13. That's maybe the only good thing to come out of it. Like you said, though, and I remember what you talking to Torch, you asked him about it, about the 2 goals, and his immediate response was, no, oh, wait, you said, even though it didn't. But had no impact on the outcome of the game, but it could have an impact on an outcome of tonight's game and some games going forward.
Exactly. I mean, it's I think for this team right now, everything is bigger than one game. Everything is just a matter of trying to build on some stuff, and again, like you said, try not to slide back into things and try to establish good habits, and to whatever extent you need to use game A to get people going for game B, that's something they'll do right now. So I think Torts was talking with us today, and he's doing a lot of still doing a lot of evaluating. He's still doing a lot of just kind of trying to figure out where the team's going to go from here, like after the deadline into next season. And spent a lot of time just kind of trying to see how guys react, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and this is one of those good moments in the season where you got some adversity and maybe you are mentally tired to see how guys react, because when you get into a playoffs, you're going to hit a lot of adversity and you're going to hit a lot of mental blocks, and it's going to be fatiguing on every level: emotional, mental, physical, and how guys respond. He'll get some good data on that through this little stretch, and hopefully they get it pointed in the right direction. All right, we're going to take a timeout. It is Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway. It's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you why a year in Vancouver delivered a kindler and gentler John Tortorella. You may laugh at that, but it's true. Stay tuned. We're back after this on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.
Don't worry about me, guys. I can't pick up any of it anyway.
We're back live. It's Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez. Flyers getting set to take on the Vancouver Canucks out in British Columbia. They'll continue the road trip coming up on Monday at 4 o'clock against Calgary, and then Tuesday at 9 o'clock against the Edmonton Oilers. That'll wrap it up, and they'll return home on Friday the 24th against the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Brian, I said that 1 year in Vancouver made John Tortorella kindler and gentler. I didn't say he was gentle, but gentler. So we know it early in his career, his years with the Tampa Bay Lightning. He spent parts of 7 seasons in Tampa. He spent parts of 6 seasons with the Rangers, 5 full. And then he spent 6 years in Columbus, all full. All said and done, he has coached 1,439 NHL games. If you take away the 82 games the 1 year where he coached in Vancouver, his average per 82 of tenure at each location is 5.84 years per job. That's the Columbus job, the Ranger job, and the Tampa job.
That's pretty good for an NHL coach these days.
Well, the average tenure is 2.45.
Yeah.
So he's got it more than doubled.
Okay.
But he did have the 1 year in Vancouver in 2013-14, and he got let go after the year. Of course, you know about the incident when he's walking off the ice and got into it with players. And I know I read this somewhere. I can't remember where I read it, but he's talked about that and reflecting on that, and he knew he had to make some changes. So he took the year off, and then he comes back in 15-16 or he didn't take the year off. He comes back the next year with the Columbus Blue Jackets, and it's a slightly more cerebral Torts,
right?
That's more understanding of today's players, that knows that he can't be white hot all the time. You got to pick your spots. And that experience really changed him.
Yeah, he's had a couple of things like that over the course of his career. He's talked about it. And, the more recent one we had was the night with Ivan Provorov, and him talking about the difference between when he had the, what he said about folks protesting the anthem to this, that he realized that, he was wrong at that point. But yeah, I mean, that, something like that kind of will put you in perspective. And, again, I think to some extent, we all mellow, right? As we get older, get more life experience, stuff like that. It just sort of kind of, works out that way. So it is kind of funny, though. You do see folks here asking about, him coming back and all that sort of thing. And, there's a lot of construction going on here, so folks are kind of he's kind of lost. He walks in, doesn't know where he's going, stuff like that. So it is a little bit different, but you hear some jokes about it. We were walking by some of the security folks earlier, some of the Vancouver police that are here working the game, and say, "Oh, Torts is here. Watch out!" I mean, you rush one locker room and you hear about it for the rest of your career. So. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of water under the bridge at this point, and he definitely has changed for the better, I think, because of that.
Yeah, the old statement, live and learn. And
Yeah.
if you just keep repeating, then you're not learning. And sometimes you got to look inward and go, okay, what can I be better at? And as a coach, especially,
right,
the players have changed. It was probably around 2010 or something when today's athlete and the way you can kind of push them or pull them. Some people need pulled, some need pushed.
Mm-hmm.
It changed. And I remember, I think Elaine Vigneault said that it's a lot more show them now, not just tell them. So, and Torts has taken on a lot more role with video as well. In his time, he said he showed more video to guys this year than he's ever shown, and more teaching. So that's part of it as well. So just the 1 year in Vancouver for Torts. Does have some friends there. I know he talked about some of the people he met, and he's one of those guys that once you kind of have an impression of him, and once you get to know him, maybe away from the podium, a little bit different.
Right, exactly, and that's the thing that we deal with every day here is that he's the one that is away from the podium is an entirely different individual than the one that's
he's a mellow guy
on YouTube, right? It's a completely different individual. I mean, he'll give you the shirt off your back any day of the week, which is again the persona that not a lot of folks see, and then maybe to some extent that's on purpose. I don't know. It's you have to kind of remember Hack. Like Dave Hackstall was the same way. People criticized him for not showing emotion and on the bench and in press conferences and stuff like that, where behind the scenes we knew that he was not afraid to give a rip when it needed to happen, and again was a very great guy to play for. It's not always what you see in public. It's not always the Elaine Vigneault type of persona that just oozes out there in public that you see. In all aspects of a certain personality. Sometimes it's just different from behind the scenes than it is out front.
Yeah, I mean, we see a coach when he's at the podium or on the bench and in a highly emotional situation. There's 21 other hours in a lot of days that we don't see them. And, we get these impressions of people based on the way they play a sport or the way they handle media. And, I know Scott Hartnell's talked about it as well, that, the reason why he loved playing for Torts is because it went beyond hockey. He didn't care.
Yeah.
He cared about you as a hockey player, but he cared about you as a person and your family and all that stuff. He to know all that. We know the great work he does with dogs as well. So he'll return to take on a team that he once coached for a brief period, only a season, coming up tonight. And, the 11-7 is interesting, Brian, because I imagine, one of the messages, it's a brief message before the game is, guys, on the bench, be into the game and paying attention, because anybody can go with anybody at any given time when you're running 11-7. So
right.
I want everybody ready and into this game from a mental standpoint.
It's the next step after taking the iPads off the bench, right?
Yeah.
You got to be, you got to have your head, you got to be heads up, and you got to, run right into it. He has said on multiple occasions that he doesn't want Justin Braun to sit for too long. He doesn't want him to be out of the lineup for 2 weeks in a row, stuff like that. But at the same time, this, this gives them a little bit of a fresh, a little bit of support on defense, number one, and number two. I mean, I don't want to sound, too rude about it, but you can handle this Vancouver team with 11 forwards right now because they're a little bit leaky, and so there's a lot of benefits I think to doing it this way, and we'll just kind of see where it plays out after that. But I think you're right. It's there's underlying motives here, I think, besides just getting fresh legs in the lineup and stuff like that.
Well, I think the other part of it is if the guys that aren't in the lineup, Lixell and Kiefer Bellows, they're not in the lineup because sometimes when you dress them, you feel obligated to play them.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you look at it, you go, okay, that's not giving us the best chance to win right now. So we got to try something different. And they go with 11-7 tonight, and it'll get the guys out there that he does feel more comfortable with a little more. And it's going to be 3 and 4 days. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. And we'll see how the team handles it. Let's take our last. Go ahead.
I was just saying, to your point, now you're going to have, 2 rested forwards going into that back-to-back. So, maybe there's something there. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. And Justin Braun draws in tonight. Of course, he may be a guy they're trying to trade, so they want to get him some playing time as well. He has an expiring contract and a right shot D. Let's take our last time out of the pregame show. We're going to take you right up to the top of the hour, where Tim Saunders and Steve Coates will deliver the countdown to face-off, followed by first period action between the Flyers and Canucks. But stay tuned. It's Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network.
That second row. Yeah. After I get one more segment, then I'm going to go see what it's like. Yeah. You know what? Maybe it's yeah.
Yeah, we are back. It is Flyers Canucks tonight. Flyers after. Is this the last, Bry?
I think it is. I mean, the next, the Edmonton's at 9. Does that count?
That's diet Flyers after.
Yeah, it's light, right? That's the light. Yeah. No, I believe it is, because this is the last the last Pacific time zone trip. So after this, it's all Central Division on the way out. We got the St. Louis trip still, and who else? Dallas. We still have to go to Dallas. I don't even know. I gotta look, but there's not a whole lot past the Central Division, I don't think, after this one. And it is a holiday here in Canada too on Monday. They call it Family Day here. It's like we have President's Day back home, which is obviously up here they don't care about our presidents, but they do have a holiday on Monday, so that's why it's a little bit of a matinee on Monday, even though we're in Calgary.
Yeah, so there's an 8:00 game remaining. That is St. Louis, like you said, and there's this, I think, 1 7:30, or 2 7:30s. A Ranger game at 7:30, an Islander game. Oh no, yeah. So there's an 8:30 in Dallas on April 6th.
Okay, as I say, I didn't think we'd been to Dallas. Yeah. I was trying to think about when we had gone there, but I didn't think we had. But yeah, that's that last trip in April.
Yeah, actually, the last game of the year too, April 13th, is an 8:30 in Chicago.
Yes, so that is correct. Yep.
That's part of it as well.
Yep, that's that's going to be a bit of a swan song. We're looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Let's get to the line combinations tonight. How about these? Ready? Can I get the breaking news sounder? Let's go.
It's mine at home.
Noah Cates, Travis Konechny, and Nick Deslauriers.
Yep.
I didn't see that
about that. Well, they played together. TK and Nick Deslauriers played together in the third period in Seattle, and they got some stuff done. Obviously, TK scored twice, but they were semi-effective. Again, garbage time, but they were interesting enough together that the coaching staff decided to keep them as a wing pair, at least here in the beginning of this contest. So we'll see where that goes.
All right. So Frost Farabee, and Patrick Brown. I didn't see that coming. Brown moves to the wing because there's not 4 centers.
Right.
Scott Lawton plays the middle, and he's playing between Kevin Hayes and Owen Tippett. And then the extra 2 wingers are James Van Riemsdyk and Wade Allison. Boy, that is a crazy forward lineup.
Yeah, it's time to just scramble some stuff up and see what works. I'm sure there's purposes behind that. They weren't really disclosed, but there's got to be the DeLorean Konechny one was. The other 3 lines weren't necessarily. I'll wait till you get to the D to talk about the other one. But that's again just how they're going to start, and we'll see where it goes from there. But this is what they liked, just in terms of what came out of the Seattle game.
Well, here's the D pairs. York is going to play the left side with Rasmus Ristolainen. Sealer is going to play along with D'Angelo. That's kind of chalk. But Provorov's going to play with Sanheim. And Justin Braun's the extra. So how that all plays out, I mean, this is going to be one heck of a mess to track.
Well, the impetus there is they want to give Cam York a game on the left side. They want him to get on that left side because the feeling is in general that he's becoming too dependent on his backhand playing on the right. He seems to be defaulting to that, and they want to give him a little opportunity to not have to do that as much. And so I'm sure they're going to be working with him on that, at a later time. But they want to give him a look on the left side tonight. So that really is what that's what spawns the entire rotation there on those 2 D pairs, the York Ristolainen one and Provorov going back with Sanheim. It's not because they like them together; it's because they want York on that left side.
So I'm assuming Provorov's playing the right side though, with Sanheim, who's a left D.
I'm in the basement right now. I can't even see, but we'll see how they come out on the game. Our correspondent Olivia Reiner, our honorary member of the show, has Provorov listed on the left. But that's the only thing I have to reference. They did not skate today. They came in. They had a power play meeting, and they went back to the hotel. So
maybe Sanheim's playing the right.
So we haven't had a chance to see it. We'll roll up there here and see what happens when the first period starts. But either way, it's going to be intriguing for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, because of these pairings, you're still going to have a left shot guy on the right side.
Exactly.
I mean, but Justin Braun is a right shot guy. So how this all plays out is really anybody's guess. And I'm not sure if this is towards, I'm doing this and I'm going to see how this goes, or if this is just him making a statement to his team.
I think
has
there's
a little bit of feel to me.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of both in there. There definitely was a statement made yesterday. There was a big statement made yesterday. And so, this might be a little bit of, kind of taking that along and just saying, you've got to be able to adjust. I mean, that's for me, that was the biggest thing about the Seattle game is that the Kraken came out like they did in that first period and the Flyers couldn't answer it. So, maybe there's an underlying thing here of you got to do what it takes to get the job done on a given night. Take you out of your comfort zone, try to do it. I don't know, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, this Vancouver team's faced a lot of Eastern Conference teams of late. They lost to the Devils. They lost to the Rangers. They beat the Islanders, and then they lost to the Rangers in their last one at home, 6-4. And they, like you said before, they have given up a ton of goals of late. Second highest goals allowed per games played in the NHL this season. Only the Anaheim Ducks have given up more. Not having Demko is a big part of that, but they've had certainly some structural issues there in Vancouver. We'll see if this is the opportunity, Brian, for the Flyers, a team that struggles to score, to feel a little good about itself offensively.
Yep, absolutely. Huge opportunity there. Yep.
So, all right. That's going to pretty much put a wrap on the Flyers game day leading into the Canucks. It's your last 10 o'clock or later Flyers After Dark. So everybody enjoy this tonight. We won't have to go through this for a little while, but let's get it to Tim Saunders and Steve Coates. They've got the countdown to face off, and that'll be followed by all the first period action coming to you live from Vancouver. Brian Smith and I will return at the first intermission and assess the play. Stay tuned. Tim Saunders, Steve Coates coming up next. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day, brought to you by Betway on the Flyers Broadcast Network.